Hi folks, Pat Healy here for the Laker News. We present to you our video interview series with some of the candidates running to be MP for Sackville, Bedford, Preston in the April 28th federal election. These video interviews were done with the goal of giving residents a better idea of what each candidate stands for as we head to the polls. The video interview series is sponsored by Joanne Poulin of eXp Realty. Thanks, Joanne. Now let's check out the interviews. All right, I'm here with Dave Carroll, the Conservative candidate for Sackville, Bedford, Preston. So let's hear a little bit about your background.
I'm a singer-songwriter and a storyteller. I've played most of my career in a band called Sons of Maxwell. I've been living here in Nova Scotia since 1993. I'm originally from Timmins, Ontario, but my brother Don and I have called Nova Scotia home since 1993.
Why did you want to put your name forward and run in the election?
Well, I've been a storyteller my whole life, as a musician, as an author, and I've traveled the world, but this is the only home I've got. We have one country, we have one community. This is it in Waverley for me, and Sackville, Bedford, Preston. And I've seen problems in the last 10 years with a government that I think has had its time. And I'd like to see some serious changes. And I think the people here in Sackville, Bedford, Preston have 1,000 stories to tell, and we need somebody to tell them to people who can feel it. And I think that's a skill that I have, is to communicate a story from the heart to the heart of others so that people want to get involved and make the world a better place.
What are your top 3 priorities if elected for Sackville, Bedford, Preston?
Probably the 3 priorities for the riding, I think, would be affordability, housing, and trades. For affordability, that seems to be the central component for the party. What we're seeing across the country are people are having a really hard time with affordability, and we're worried and we're scared about what the future holds and how we're going to ensure we have the certainty to know that our kids have enough and that we have a roof over our heads. So I had a meeting with a person in Sackville just last week. He's a welder down at the shipyard, so he has a good job and he makes good money, but he has to work from 4 till 1 a.m. in the morning, and he comes home and he has 4 hours sleep, but he has to get up to take care of his kids because his wife gets up earlier to go to her job. And on the weekends, when he should be spending time with the family and resting, he has to go in and work overtime. And that doesn't help his personal health and his relationship. So that's just one example. On the housing side, I had an experience where a side-by-side comparison. There were 2 homes in Lower Sackville. And I was speaking to the wife of a man in the house, and she was saying, I want to get rid of my kids. I love my kids, but I don't want them in the house anymore. But they can't afford to find housing. So she's living with her 2 children that are 30 or early 30s, and they can't afford to go. I went to the next house over, and there was a woman that has her older children with her because they can't afford to not have their kids with them because what they're paying for rent and expenses. So side-by-side examples of the affordability issue. They can't live in their homes the way that they would like to, and that tugs at the heartstrings. On the trades issue, we have skilled workers, and we need skilled workers. Everybody knows that if you have to call a plumber or an electrician for even your home, you got to wait a long time because everybody's busy. And so the Conservative plan, because this is a national issue, the Conservative plan is to create training programs to upscale and train 350,000 new tradespeople to do this work that's coming. And the Conservative view is we have a lot of optimism for the future because we have what we call the Canada First plan that's going to create a Canadian energy corridor across the country, and we're going to play to our strengths. We're going to play to our natural resources and the things that drive Canada, the things that are need to haves, not nice to haves, that the world wants and needs, that we have lots of, and we're going to drive the economy forward with those type of things right here in Sackville, Bedford, Preston, but across the country as well.
We all know buyers set the market prices for home sales. What will you do to create more affordable housing in our area, particularly in HRM, which has access to public transit?
Well, so federally, we wouldn't control the public transit aspect, but that brings to the point that we all need to work together. We need to lean in municipally and provincially and federally into the problems to solve these things. And so as a federal politician, I would be looking to solve the problems we could do. One of them is immigration. The Liberals invited too many people for what our services could support, so it created an increase in the demand for housing. So we're going to reduce immigration. Not to zero, like the People's Party is saying, just somewhere in the middle that's in line with what we can handle as a society. And so that will reduce the demand on it, so there should be more supply. But there's more supply coming in as well, and we're eager and looking forward to working with the province and the city to do everything we can to make it easier for everybody. Our job is to make life easier for our citizens, not harder.
What will you do to improve healthcare staffing shortages that are not focused only on doctors and nurses?
It's a serious problem. I see it. I met a man again in Sackville. He has a nice home and everything. He came from Alberta to retire here. His wife is from Nova Scotia. And he's going back to Alberta, though, because he's 125,000th on the waiting list for doctors. This is a serious problem, and part of the answer will be with Pierre Poilievre's Blue Seal program. There are professionals here, doctors, trained doctors from other countries who are driving Uber. They're not working at the highest level of their license. They're not even working in their profession. And so we would like to find those people that have the skills and the aptitude and the training that are doctors, get them certified under the Blue Seal program and get into the system. That would be one way to do that. And again, it's always about working with the provinces. The provinces distribute the healthcare services. We help fund it. Let's work together.
How would you advocate for local businesses that may be impacted by tariffs put on Canadian goods by U.S. President Donald Trump?
Another serious issue. Donald Trump's tariffs are affecting all of Canada. This is a unique time for Canada because we're all experiencing the same problems across the country, some of the same worries. So for here, the Pierre Poilievre's plan of taking the tariffs that we will receive, the tariff money we will receive, and giving that directly to the people that are affected by the tariffs that are imposed on us is a great solution. We're the only ones suggesting that.
Would your government consider funding sewer systems in areas that are currently in septic so more housing could be created?
Interesting again. These are things that you need collaboration with. You need to lean in. I live in Waverley, so we have a septic system in our home, but it's very expensive to put that in. So if we do it, we have to do it efficiently and in a way that fixes the problem the first time, not creates more problems.
There's a need for affordable housing, and that includes home with accessibility. How would you ensure that housing is accessible friendly?
I think you would agree it probably has to do with standards. You have to work with the people that create the standards so that it's easier to make those decisions, doorways a little bit wider, things like that at the beginning of a process. So that to me seems like things that could be fixed with regulation tweaks in advance.
In some areas of Sackville, Bedford, Preston, cell coverage is a problem affecting residents, businesses, but more importantly, home-based businesses. How would you work with your prospective governments to improve this?
I've had the same problem. Driving around and when you lose a call or you're waiting for the most important part of a conversation and it drops out, it's really frustrating. So I feel it, and I don't have the answer of what it would be today, what I would do today, but it always comes back to collaboration. Who are the stakeholders? It would be the cell phone providers, it would be the province, maybe the city could be involved. Maybe it's about putting towers, 5G towers in certain locations that would have to involve collaboration. And once we can agree that we all have a common problem, then we can all lean into a common solution.
Thank you very much for taking some time to answer some questions.
Thanks a lot, Pat.
We want to thank each of our candidates for taking time out of their campaigning to take questions from us. There's never been a more crucial time to have your say and vote than right now. Advance voting is open April 18th to 21st from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. The federal election will be held on April 28th. Thank you to Joanne Poulin of eXp Realty for sponsoring these video interviews. Pat Healy for the Laker News in Windsor Junction.